with regards to the rules and the regulations and all of that stuff, right? So today, I said today on my, I said today in my, let me see, this is so much better. I said today on my Facebook page, I was like, today we're just really going to be talking about like the legal issues with regards to dealing with business and law, because that's what I do at the More Legal firm that's based out in Jenkintown, PA. I've been getting questions with regards to other people about other issues that I do not do. So I was like, maybe I should be very clear about why I always talk about business, why I always talk about estate planning, and why I always talk about just different issues with regards to what a CEO goes through, because those are my people, right? There's so many different attorneys out there, as you already know, before me is the Honorable Michael Cord, and he has so much with information and experience. That's not my practice. My practice is more on a transactional basis with regards to helping people get their business right, which I call like business like a boss, like a brilliant, amazing person that is slaying entrepreneurship, so that at the end of the day, it's all to me about wealth building, right? How we wealth building our way through life. We're building wealth. We could be broke as a joke like I was as a child, but because of this opportunity to create a business, of the opportunity to pretty much like start a limited liability company, have different partners, have partnership agreements, going to law school, and then going back to law school and learning more about different things with regards to law and different things with regards to helping people with estate planning and business succession planning and negotiations. So today, as I always like to do, is just deal with a series of hypotheticals that I have brought together, because it's kind of like what I go through on a weekly basis when I'm helping people who are CEOs in their own business handle their business, right? Most of the time, they're first generation. Most of the time, they're African Americans. Most of the time, they're business owners such as myself in the Philadelphia region. And most of the time, it's not like we have someone who could be like, oh, call cousin Johnny, or call the banker, or call the candlestick maker, or get hooked up by the preacher, No, most of the time we got to do it ourselves. That's why I'm always reminding people that even in the midst of it all, when you have to build wealth yourself, you got to do what you got to do. But of course, when it comes to legal, you still got to be lawful, right? Lawful, don't be awful, but definitely be lawful. So today, three things came up over the week that I definitely wanted to talk about. One, I used to do divorce law. I do not do divorce law anymore. I did it for 10 years. I do have colleagues that I refer businesses to. But if you don't have a colleague, you don't have a friend, I don't have people call my office talking about what attorney do you know? She don't do that. They have legal referral systems. The Philadelphia Bar Association has one. The Montgomery County Bar Association have one. And also each state also has a legal referral, right? So if you don't do online, which most of us do, especially in the midst of COVID, we've just got real legal cyber. So I do cyber legal. My firm is at morelegallaw.com, morelegallaw.com. When people say, how do I make an appointment with you? Just let you know right now, if it's not business related to CEO issues with regards to handling their business or taking care of employees or getting retirement planning or succession planning, that's not what I do. And there's so many different types of attorneys. And let's just talk about that before I go into the different things, right? So one of the questions someone had asked at the previous session was, what should I expect when I hire an attorney, right? And I really want people to understand that when you hire an attorney, first of all, we're not your employees, period. Think of an attorney as more of a consultant, right? Where you consult with a doctor, you consult with an accountant, you consult with a bookkeeper. Professionals are never deemed as employees for anybody. Now, certain attorneys may think that you're their employer, but I don't. I'm more of a consultant, a legal consultant, where if you are calling me to consult with me because you have an HR issue for your small firm, and we have an agreement as to what you're going to pay me, and I have an agreement as to what I'm going to do for you, then we work out a negotiation because we have a consulting basis, and that's how it worked out, right? Now, at the end of the day, attorneys will get a 1099 because that is pursuant to the IRS, right? 1099. You should actually have a 1099 for anybody who you pay more than $600 because you need proof that it was paid so that you can write it off. If you ever get audited, you definitely need that proof that it was paid. because the IRS don't play at all. So that's usually oftentimes when you're dealing with a transactional attorney, such as myself, whether we're doing estate planning, that's a estate planning consultation, whether you are doing a trademark consultation and you need someone to protect your assets, if you're asking an attorney to review a contract, I used to get phone calls. I'm like, please don't. You know what I mean? Attorneys do not review contracts for free unless you get a hookup. But that's why we always need to know that. You know, even for my Bible believers such as myself, you know, somewhere in the Bible says, pay your brother and your sister their worth, right? So I used to get phone calls, and now I just put it out there. Look, if you're calling me, I'm an attorney, and treat me as a legal consultant, right? And for some of my Black and brown people, I'm like, treat me like you treat the white attorneys. I'm just saying, I had to put it out there, you know. God made me say it. But at the end of the day, it's just a level of respect. I've been an attorney for over 22 years, and she don't do that for free. You know, this is not pro bono when you're working with services and things of that nature at the point where I do, because I'm a lawyer and I'm a transactional lawyer and I am a trust and estate attorney. I do asset protection with regards to setting up businesses and making sure businesses are legal and legit, helping my clients, because most of the time we don't have that next level with regards to certifications, right? I have a few of my clients who realize that they do have to get their assets in order so that they can get to the next level in their business. Because it's the worst thing in the world is to be the smartest person, have all of the knowledge, and making money. You have like a cash flow type of business. You know you're making money. You know that you're legit. You know that you're having a bank account. You know that you're setting things aside. But then when you go to get your loan for your house because you want to up level into another place, and they ask you for your documentations, and all you have is bank statements, nah, it's not going to go down like that. You know, you're going to get denied. And what I tell my clients is always remember that in the midst of it all, when you're asking for a loan, a car loan, you know, they just need to see paperwork. And most of the time, W-2 workers, they only know about the work W-2 operation. So if you are your own business employer, then it's just a matter of hiring yourself as an employee and gifting yourself and then a W-2 form. Now, let me just tell you, because I wanted to bring it to domestic relations. Once upon a time, for almost 10 years, I was also doing domestic relations, right? I was also helping my clients because they had domestic relations issue, they were getting married, or they were getting a divorce, or they was going through bad situations with regards to child support and custody. And one of my clients, when I was at this one particular firm, he taught me a thing or two about this whole W-2 form. Like, I knew him from a previous life, and I knew he was making money. I knew his family had money. I knew he was a part of a situation. But he taught me what he taught me. You know, he did fire me because we were just too close, and he needed someone who didn't know all his business. And I knew enough about his financial business that I couldn't present him in court, right? So what ended up happening was he gave me his W-2s. I'm like, wait a minute. I know enough about him to know that he should be making more money, right? Especially because one of the partners was going to their family season passes, and they were doing a lot of stuff, and they were bragging and all this other stuff. But this person, and I'm not saying that it was illegal or illegal. I'm not a judge. I'm not a jury. However, he was very strategic when he did it. And what he ended up doing was he had hired himself. So in the midst of it all, when we had to do family support, it was a question of, they usually tell people, bring in your W-2s, fill out your expense, bring in your tax return, la-di-dee, la-di-da, right? Because ultimately there is going to be a child support calculation, and the child support calculation says if you have one child and this is your total family income, with mom brings in and dad brings in, then there's a pro rata share. Think about like 15 to 20%, not always the best thing. So what ended up happening was, guess what? He had a W-2. And I was like, wait a minute, I had some questions. That's why he fired me afterwards, right? But I had what I had because he presented it to me. He had the copies. He had all the documentation right before our hearing. And then that was that. And there was nothing else I could do about it, right? But I just looked because I was confused because I knew what circle and all this other stuff. He's like, I'm gonna have to fire you because at the end of the day, you just know too much of my business. And I need somebody who can represent me without knowing my business, right? But it brought me to an understanding that even when you have your own business, you need a W-2 form, right? When it comes to child custody, you need a W-2 form. When it comes to loans, you need a W-2 form, some level of W-2 form. So it can be almost like in conformity of what people expect. When you have your own business and you are pretty much living off the cash flow statement and you pretty much do not maybe do like a, have a bookkeeper who's keeping track and doing profit and loss statements, which most of my clients do not, okay? And they say, well, what's your bring home pay? Now, all of this is for naught if you and the child's parent, we'll call it the custodial parent, have an agreement. You say, look, all I need is $500 a month, or all I need is $300 a month, or somebody's if you have even the same thing with regards to spousal support, the same thing with regards to other issues when it comes to money in, money out, the pro rata share, and what's there. So if you don't have those issues, or you can resolve those issues with a written agreement, then you don't really have to go to court and they go all up in your business and find out what your expenses are, what's your bring home pay, what's your net, and all this other stuff, which I always tell my clients, it's better to be able to negotiate, because in the midst of every conversation does not have to end up in litigation. Everything to me is negotiable. Now, if you're dealing with somebody who, can't play nice, don't play fair, hate your guts because you moved on.com, that's a different situation. But if you can have that conversation, I want you to have your paperwork in order, and I want you to be able to have that conversation. Okay. So that was with regards to the conversation on how this one guy who was big time taught me the importance of having a W-2. So that in the midst of it all, when you have to go through the everyday things of life with regards to getting a car note or buying a home, or, going through custody and support situations, you at least have that paperwork that people are used to. Okay. Another thing that child support court, more so divorce court, taught me with regards to business owners, right? I do have friends who still do divorce, but with regards to business owners, is the power of a partnership agreement and the power of an operating agreement. So not to get in any trouble or anything like this, it's Tony Moore of morelegallaw.com. Not to get in any trouble, but if you're starting a business, I don't know, maybe one day we'll have a good conversation with regards to when you're starting a business, why is it that oftentimes my female clients want to make their girlfriends or their friends or their lovers a partner, whereas my male clients, they already know. Nope. I'd be like, so who's the partner? They'd be like, I am. You know what I mean? I came to you, I'm starting my business and all this other stuff. My female clients are like, well, I was thinking about bringing in my mom, or I was thinking about bringing in my best friend, or, my spouse. Should I make my spouse, a partner? And I'm like, are they doing sweat equity? Are they bringing anything into the conversation? Are they doing the work? Because if they're not doing the work, then why are you making them a partner? Because here's the thing, with regards to having a partner, now it depends. I'm not going to break it down. I don't want to be all boring and stuff like that. But when you having a partner in your business, then you're also allowing them to make decisions for you. I just need you to know that. So when you're having a partner in your business and you're like, okay, we're partners, they have access to the bank account. They have access to deciding whether or not you guys are going to hire or fire somebody. They got access to, whether or not they're going to pay themselves. Because sometimes with my daycare owners, when they get in partnerships, some of them will be like, oh, we brought in like $20,000. We're going to pay our bills. We're going to pay our overhead for the following month. And then we're going to split it. There's no real conversation with regards to, well, what if we wanted to hire? What if we, our commercial refrigerator breaks down? What if we wanted to start bringing in and having our clients have employee benefits? What if we want to bring in a conversation with regards to giving ourselves as the business owners, the founders, like reasonable compensation, and then at the end of the year we have a draw? No, when you don't have those conversations in place, and those conversations need to be had in a partnership agreement, right? And sometimes I talk to my clients about, well, you have a partnership agreement. Why would I have a partnership agreement? Why wouldn't you have a partnership agreement? Well, I have an operating agreement. Well, what's in your operating agreement? This one was like, I don't know. I got it off of LegalZoom, or I got it off of the computer, and I just put it together because that's what it seems like I need it in my business. And I was like, but those are operating agreements, right? So let me just break this down, okay? If you are working with your sister, cousin, homie, girlfriend, pastor, or whatever, and you're starting a business, especially if you're a founder, I want you to really listen to me this with regards to it. Especially if you're a founder, I want you to protect your vision of that business. Especially if you're a founder and you come up with an awesome and amazing name, I want you to be very selfish with regards to it. Especially if you're a founder and you're going to do all the work, I really want you to negotiate from a founder's position, okay? Because when you negotiate from a founder's position, one, you need to have a partnership agreement with regards to who's going to take care of the day-to-day activity? Who's going to take care of the day-to-day activity and the services of the business, right? Who's going to be the one to hire? Who's going to be the one to fire? Who's going to be the one to work with the consultants? Who's going to be the one to work with the clients? If there's a problem with regards to maybe missing money, or the problem with regards to maybe somebody needs to be fired, or a problem with regards to maybe there's not enough money, or you're in childcare and you was waiting for your CCIS and it didn't come through, it got paused, but you know it's coming, you know, who makes a decision as to who gets that money and the timing of that money, right? See, those are conversations that need to be had outside of an operating agreement. That's where the partnership agreement comes into play. The partnership agreement is like, these are the partners, these are the responsibilities, these are the duties, this is how we're going to get paid. If we're going to get paid on a monthly basis, you know, are people going to demand their money, or are the partners going to get together and have a conversation? Is it going to be reasonable? Because we decided to elevate our limited liability company and be taxed as an S Corp or a C Corp. And that's a conversation you can have with your accountant, you know, but it's always a good conversation to have with regards to the business of doing business. I like calling it business like a boss, right? Because when you're doing business like a boss, you're already having that mindset that, you know what, this is my business. I hire, I fire at the desire. I have this name, I have this vision and mission. I'm going to expand. I'm not always going to be playing small. I'm building a business like a boss. I'm never always just going to be chasing dollars or having commission breath or just hustling my way to success, because we miss out, okay? So when you're working with other people, I definitely need you to know, in addition to an operating agreement, you need to negotiate a partnership agreement. In addition to the operating agreement, you need to know, because when you don't, and you brought in someone and you had the operating agreement, or you went to Zoom, who's not a lawyer, but hey, everybody got their own budgets, but law doesn't care. Law doesn't care if your budget did not include legal compliance planning, you know, legal conversations, having a business nuptial agreement, understanding what the ... or we say what the legal stuff is going on, right? It's not something that you skip over just because you don't like it, because legal don't care, law don't care. It commands a level of respect, you know? So when that operating agreement pretty much is saying, okay, so this is the operating agreement. We operate, we organize pursuant to the rules. And operating is like, IRS is like, you pick a tax partner, right? If it's just you, you are the tax partner, but you should put that in there, because when you're doing legal like a boss, like I told my recent client, I need you to negotiate with yourself, okay? Who's going to be the tax partner? I don't care if it is you. Who's going to be the tax partner? You know? What's going to happen if someone gets sick, if you die? What's going to happen? Some level of succession planning should be in place, right? So I need you to understand and appreciate that that's what needs to be done on the legal side of your business, the legal side of your business. What's going to happen if you bring in other people? Because most of the time it's yourself, but you still need to do legal like a boss. You still need to create your business like a boss. You still need to negotiate yourself. You still need that paperwork, because here's the thing, without the paperwork, without the standard operating procedures that you're saying, okay, I started my business. Okay, I have my business bank account. People know that. Start my business, have a business bank account. Ideally, you will also have a virtual business address, because when you're doing business like a boss, every boss that I know of who I hired or who hired me had their own business address. But I tell them I don't got no budget for that. But this is the reason why I want you to have that, is because of the fact that I want you to have a separation of you, your personal person, personal CEO, and you, business CEO. you personal CEO have that separation, because if things go wrong, if things go to the left, if some client thinks that you their employee, you know what I mean? You're like, hold on, I'm not your employee. I showed up as your consultant, you know, or you didn't do business like a boss with regards to an agreement. See, I always put out an agreement, right? You're either going to sign a proposal agreement, or you're going to sign a retainer agreement if I'm doing like trademark litigations, right? Proposal agreement, or because I need to set the boundaries, and you as well. You need to set the boundaries, because you've been in business long enough. You know, so all you need is about 6 months, and you know that people are tricky. All right. They hire you for something, then all of a sudden they want to add on some duties and responsibilities. Like every once in a while, because I shut that down real quick. Okay. Someone will hire me to help them out with the trademark situation. Then they'd be like, well, can you look over this contract? This got to do with trademark. You know what I mean? This ain't part of the proposal agreement that I sent you of what exactly is going to happen. But, you know, every once in a while, you know, they might get away with it. And then they'd be like, oh, when my grandmom passed away, and we need some help. Okay, well, that's a different contractual agreement. And they'll be like, oh, but you, see, that's why when you're doing business like a boss, I don't care what you're doing, okay? Even, you know, just let people know. This is the services. I am not your employee. You know, you hired me as a consultant, and even you, whatever you're doing, your lawn care service. I need you to have a proposal, and I need you to be very specific about what them coins is for. You know what I mean? Because people get real tricky, and I need you to do that, because that's the way to also bulletproof your profits is with a contract. And when you bulletproof in yourself with contracts, you know, just in case people get tricky and things get sticky, you can go back to a copy of your proposal where they signed on a dotted line, right? And they said it, and they signed on a dotted line either in person, face to face, or they signed on a dotted line electronically. Because in this world, in this digital world, you know, if you're not up into the digital world, I need you to get into it, because this is the way the world is. In this global economy, most of us is digital, okay? And in the digital world, you have an agreement. And by law, that check, that sign, that signature, that payment is an agreement to abide by whatever that proposal was. When you don't have a proposal, things get tricky. When you don't have paperwork, people forget. And they usually forget, but it's always to their added benefit. Oh, I thought you said, no. Especially when you're dealing with family and friends, because then there's a slippery slope. Like I used to work with family and friends, and I don't. Even if I do, I put them in the same situation. I tell them to go to asktonimoore.com. That's AskTonimore.com. Set up a consult, right? Set up a 15-minute consult. We figure out what it is, because I need to know if I can help you. Because if I can't help you, I can't help you. And if I can help you, then I will tell you what I can do for you, and I'll send you a proposal, right? And once you sign a proposal and send me money, then that's where the engagement. I don't care who you are, pastor, you know what I mean, cousin, auntie, whatever, whosoever. Once you engage on the professional side, right? And I need you to set those boundaries as well, because now you're setting up. First of all, you're setting up you're setting up some barriers and some boundaries so that people can respect. Now you're going to get some people like, oh, she acted new or he acted new. You're supposed to be a new thing in business, so that you, because I'm telling you right now, learn my lesson. Okay, with regards to it, because things got tricky. Then people be like, sometimes before COVID, people be in the back of the church, ask me some questions. Like, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer unless you give me a comma check. Okay, no comma check. You know what I mean? See, catch you on the other side, you know, no comma check, and I'll see you on the other side of the Facebook, or I see you first Sundays, and we can have that conversation or whatever. But I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. And the same thing that you need to do with regards to your business. And this conversation came up because a client is going to bring in a friend, and I said, "Oh, you're going to bring your friend into your business? What are they bringing into the business?" Well, for all intents and purposes, based on the conversation I had with the client, and based on the fact that I've been around in legal since 1993, you do the math, it didn't sound like this person was a partnership-worthy person. And even if it wasn't a 50-50 partnership, because the person was just going to start doing a task that maybe the client should have just hired someone to do. So I said, oh, so this person's going to be a partner. Did y'all negotiate the equity? Did you negotiate what you're expecting them to do and what the other person is going to do? Is this person also supposed to be deemed as a rainmaker, or is this person just going to just be showing up and doing secretarial stuff and showing up and doing stuff that maybe an employee could have done on your behalf to take something off your plate? And she was like, you know what? I didn't think of that. I said, it sounds like you need to negotiate. Then she said, well, I have an operating agreement. And I said, okay. So what does the operating agreement say with regards to bringing in a partner? What does the operating agreement say with regards to, is it going to be managed by you, the founder, and then you're going to allow new members to come in and do certain things, but not as 100%? And it was like, oh, we didn't have that conversation. And then another conversation took place with regards to spouses, right? And once again, I used to do divorce. I don't do it no more. Things I used to do, I don't do no more. Praise the Lord. You know what I mean? But it still comes up when you're dealing with people. So I'm always a big proponent of succession planning, because what ended up happening was that one of my CEOs was having a problem because one of the partners passed away. And the child was a beneficiary. So a partner passed away, the child was a beneficiary, and then who took the place, the guardian of the beneficiary, since it was a child, was an ex-spouse. It was an ex-spouse of the partner. And that was like a double slap in the face. And so I had said to my client, well, what's in your operating agreement? She was like, what you mean? We set this up a long time ago. Ain't nobody do no negotiations. And I said, I need you to understand that paper serves more like prophylactics that protects your assets, okay? Paper is a prophylactics that protects your assets. Your business is an asset. Me, as a wealth building lawyer that I am, I'm always looking at your business as an asset. I put it like this, and I tell financial planners, come for me all you want, but if a business is profitable, you can get more cash flow, more rate of return from the business profits than you can get from a mutual fund. Argue with me if you want to, but I've been an attorney long enough, you will lose. Most of the attorneys we do like to argue for a living. But when you pretty much appreciate that your business is an asset and it can give you a greater rate of return, and it can also give you opportunities to up level with regards to getting business credit, which will allow you to get a bigger edifice or maybe use that business credit for marketing. Yeah, I'm saying all the stuff that the business credit should be used for, because it's business credit, not personal credit, but business credit. Now, I do have some clients, they be like, well, I bought a ring with this business credit, and I bought shoes, and I bought clothes. And I'm like, please don't tell me that, because as an officer of the court, I don't want to be a part of your lawfulness, your lawlessness, right? I want you to be flawless in business, not lawless in business, not flawless in business, so that when people come for you, when there's a problem, when there's litigation, I'll be like, my client did exactly what the law requires them to do. My client is flawless in business, right? They understand that they are a fiduciary of their business. They understand that their business is an asset. They understand that for some people, you can turn $100 into $10,000 with maybe an event space. You know what I mean? Or you can use other people's interest in business, with regards to wholesaling. I have clients who do wholesaling, you know what I mean? But they understand that at the end of the day, they get a chance to stack their paper, they stack their coins through business that's going to give them a heck of a lot of a greater rate of return than a universal life insurance policy with cash value. I'm just saying. No knocks on the situation, but let's appreciate it for what it is. And when you understand that your business is an asset that can get your assets out of poverty line, get you out of a bad situation, help you move into a different location. If you have children, I'm a mom of 2 boys, so I'm always thinking about, one is like a man child and one is like, he's still young. And I'm always thinking, as a mom, African-American woman, I got to make sure that my kids don't have the same experience I had, and they won't, because they're not in foster care as I was. They won't, because they wasn't eating off the grounds looking for food, because my mama sold her welfare stamps to her family for pennies on the dollar. I got a chance to change that situation, right? But it wasn't easy. If anybody hear me when I say it wasn't easy dealing with the wounds of the childhood experience. But when you have, when you want to be more than a potential, I'm a person, I wanted to be more than the potential. And that's what having a business allowed me to do, because I no longer needed permission I no longer needed permission for commission. I got a chance to start building and looking at the business bank account because I knew that I was worthy of a check, not just worthy of a salary that kept me just over broke, but worthy of bankrolling my brilliance, and worthy of having a business, and worthy of asking for a check, or worthy of telling people yes, no, maybe so, and worthy of hiring people and letting people walk out the door when they needed to walk out the door. And that's the beauty of a business. You see why I'm a business lawyer? I'm very passionate about this area, because what I know for sure is that the lack of money is the root of all evil. Holla if you hear me, honk if you hear me, stay in your lane, right? But the lack of money, and because I believe that we all have the power and the potential to create wealth, you know, by basically bankrolling our brilliance, right? If you're a drummer, then be a drummer. If you're a musician, be a musician. You a singer, be a singer. You know, if you are awesome with regards to developing children, then guess what? There is a check attached to that, and that's all the beauties with regards to a business. But I also know that if you are starting afresh without a mentor, you know what I mean, without modalities, without milestones, without metrics, without knowing what you need to do, then you're going to end up in a bad situation where you're going to end up poisoning yourself as opposed to promoting yourself. You're going to end up messing up your potential as opposed to manifesting greater success based on what you know to do. Been there, done that, over 22 years, making mistakes. And each time I made a mistake, I'm like, oh, I made a mistake. I'm not bringing in money, so I'm gonna have to get a job. And then I would go back and I'd be like, but I'm gonna start. I have a commitment to this, because I don't want to be a woman full of potential. I want to be able to manifest the fullness of who I am, so I can be a better version of myself. Y tú también, and you as well, with regards to business. So that's with regards to, you know, the divorce issues. That was something. With regards to partnership issues, that was something. And then with regards to the succession planning, because I can never talk enough about succession planning, because to me, the greatest wealth exchange happens when we appreciate that we're not our ancestors' dreams. We're more than that. You know, my ancestors, you know, they came from Alabama, you know, and they was just very happy with their government job. So I'm more than that. Some of them ended up in bad situations, and some of my ancestors, they hid a lot of their pain and their problems and their abuse, you know what I mean? And they stayed at a certain level that is at their comfort zone. They was content with that. I wanted to be beyond the comfort zone, because being in the comfort zone, you know, as soon as I started working at a law firm and they was pimping me like Kizzy, that should have been enough. Okay, tell them you at a law firm. Well, they disrespect me and they're hazing me for a partnership, and they're playing around, and they're giving me people that I don't want to deal with, and they're taking the side of opposing counsel as opposed to me. They don't have my back. But some people be like, yo, you got a check, shut your mouth, get paid, handle business, be all right with that, you know? But when you want more than that, then you're no longer your ancestors' dreams. Because some people's like, just be content in your contentment and keep it moving. You know what I mean? Smile, nod, be at peace with the fact that you are no longer in welfare, you know, land, or in a bad situation where you are so worried about someone abusing you, you know? I'm like, no, there has to be more than that. And the business, I'm telling you right now, is that the business is like, no, first of all, this is, now we talk about business succession planning, but I want you to put some success in that planning as well. Because I remember a couple years ago, I won't say her name, but I was at a women's conference, and someone who was working for the mayor's office was like, look, here's the deal, is that there are so many opportunities for African-American, Black and brown people to get a business contract. But most of us are, you know, we're not filing tax returns. And I'm gonna tell you right now, if you ever think about business certification in Pennsylvania, you need at least 3 years of your tax returns so that they can look at it, because they want to make sure that you're a viable business. They want to make sure you're not a liar and deceiver, because there is such thing as a Rule 1001 violation. Tony, what is a Rule 1001? You just sound like a lawyer. Well, a Rule 1001 violation is essentially like, if you lie, if you commit a fraud, if you figured out some way to not be very open about the numbers, then there's a Rule 1001 where you can get caught up in the caught up. You know what I mean? There can be a charge against you for that with a Rule 1001 violation, especially with regards to IRS. IRS, feds, they don't play no games. And if they want to come for you, they will always look at your tax return. Even if you have an issue with the IRS, they will always want to be like, oh, you have a side business. Where's your 941? You're like, I didn't hire nobody. I have a side business. Here's my 1040. Here's my Schedule C. You know what I mean? And it's sufficient enough. But when you up level, I need you to know every time you level up, you need to lower your up. But every time you need to level up, you need new lessons from experts. Okay. So knowing this, I realized that certain times we didn't know. So I was like, what you mean? So we have the opportunity. There's so many people who are like, oh, I can help you with certifications. But then it's crazy that the people who help you with certifications are also the same ones to be like lawyers. They always try to mess you up. Here's the thing, regulations, okay? Somewhere in the Bible says that was in the details. And in the midst of the details is a whole contract, right? In the midst of the contract, there's a whole application on the certification. Now, we already know I'm a woman of a certain age, almost 50. So I know about misogyny. I know about racism. I know how, at the end of the day, sometimes people operate from their own lens from within. And some people just don't even want you to aspire to go higher because they feel as though you need, at the end of the day, to stay where they are. And if they met you broke, busted and disgusted, then they feel as though you need to stay in that lane of broke, busted and disgusted. We don't play that. You know what I mean? When we got opportunities, that we got potential, we don't want to just be a person with opportunities and potential. So when I heard that, sometimes when there is a call for a proposal, a call to work with the government to set aside, whether it's local government, state government, even federal government, and there's nobody on the list who are eligible. They don't care that you're black and brown. They still want to make sure that you're eligible, meaning that you're certified as a certified black, brown, woman-owned veteran business owner, meaning that you have gone through the process. So I want all of us who ain't gone through the process, who know that you're worthy of the process, who knows that you have your limited liability company, you have your operating agreement, you have your documentation. If you have a partnership, you have the partnership agreements, you operate in your business like a boss, you know what I mean? Where you have you have those documents in place anytime you have corporate resolutions, because maybe you made a change, or maybe you decided to partner with others, or resolutions when you decided to JV partner with others, or documents in place with regards to pretty much sealing the deal that's protecting your assets, right? In business, of course. You have those things in place. Then I want you to be, and you're also filing your tax returns. Okay, whether you're even asking for an extension, I don't care. But we already know, even when we asking for extension, you better put something down, because that at least stop the bleed of interest and penalties, right? And you have all of that, and then you get certified. You get all of that, and you get certified. You know what I mean? And then you're networking, and the SBA.gov is very helpful. And you're saying, I'm doing the best that I can. And they can reach out, mentor, because the thing is, and I tell people, as a former litigator, it's better to if you have a violation, and we're talking about civil law with regards to corporations, corporate contracting opportunities, it's better to go to court because someone violated your rights, to allow you to up level, to have, peace, joy, happiness, and the power of success, and the piece of that apple, American pie. Because you did everything pursuant to the rules. And you did everything, I'm going to just say, pursuant to the rules. Not because it's like, well, that's a darn shame. They should supposed to be doing this, and they did this for. I tell people all the time, the likelihood of someone setting aside a group of people who they believe should be set aside is slim to none. But when you do everything that you're supposed to do, when you have those documents in place, and you keep your eye on procurement, because just look, whatever county you're in, there's going to be a procurement board, right? So when you have your idea, even if there's a call for bid, where there's a call, and you have everything in place, I want you to do that. Because when I was teaching at Eastern University, I had one of my clients, she wasn't my client because she didn't hire me. So remember, I tell people, I'm a lawyer, but I'm not your lawyer. Unless there's an exchange, there's a retainer agreement, and we understand that we have an understanding that, one, I'm not your employee, but I am your legal consultant who is hired to protect your assets in business. So she said, well, here's the thing. And I want someone to check, because this was a few years ago, but she had noticed that there were so many people working for the school district of Philadelphia, but they didn't have any black and brown contractors, right? And most big companies, even most big organizations, even most departments, even school districts, they should have a supplier diversity. And and I want you to look it up, Target has a supplier diversity. Walmart has a supplier diversity. Sephora has a supplier diversity program. Even the Sixers got a supplier diversity program. I need you to look it up. But with this supplier diversity program, you have to be certified as a woman business owner or a minority business owner, or even a diversity, so many different types of diversity, even veteran business owner. So you get that certified because you went through the process, and it's a paperwork process, and you went through the process, and they're always going to ask you for 3 years of your tax returns. It's a problem. It's not a problem, but it's a problem if you don't have it. But I don't want you to be that person. I want you to do business like a boss. Okay. A person who is slaying entrepreneurship so that you can secure the equity and so that you can have that success that is exceedingly abundantly more than your ancestors could ever dream of. When you do that and you get denied, then it's a problem. And then people have to pay you. And then they have to pay you interest and penalties, and maybe have to pay attorney's fees. But unfortunately, if we have these opportunities and we're starting businesses, because we are, but unfortunately, there's so many of us who have businesses that's making under $50,000, right? Or I have some clients that are like, well, I'm not going to make so much money because I don't want to pay taxes. I was like, but you don't want to pay taxes, but when you pay taxes, it shows that your business is viable. So that when you want to make the connection, when you want to get certification, it shows that it's viable. Because don't nobody really want to do business with a broke asset business. Do you want to do business with a broke asset business? When you say, hey, we're going to partner, and you want some sort of retainer, you want some sort of ownership retention. But if it's with a broke asset business, then why would you partner with them and not just hire them as your employee, right? But I need you to understand, I've been able to shift a lot of people with regards to when they're starting to look at their business as an asset in their wealth building portfolio. And they're looking at it and you're protecting it, whether you're protecting the business operation, you're protecting your peace, and with regards to not allowing everybody to get access to you, but having boundaries in place. You're also protecting it with regards to ensuring that there are some wealth building agents, advisors who is helping you, bookkeepers helping you, accountants helping you, maybe a tax attorney is helping you, succession planning attorneys helping you, a tax lawyer. There's so many of us who are business lawyers. People are like, well, what's a business lawyer? I'm like, if there's a business, oftentimes business lawyers are doing the transactional, we're doing the registrations, we're doing the certifications, we're helping you with regards to understanding what needs to be done with regards to not the employment law of it, but maybe if you have something in place with regards to there's a question with regards to maybe your employees, or a question with regards to your independent contractors, or a question with regards to maybe you want a joint venture with maybe a public entity or a business entity, or maybe your homely lover friend, what do you put in place with regards to it? Or maybe I have a couple of clients recently, they have tapped in the fact that, and you should too, you should tap into the fact that there are a lot of baby boomers who are getting older and they don't have a child who wants to take over their business. So this week I looked at like 3 different contracts with regards to like with our letters of intent, and some agreement that's in place with regards to my clients buying out someone's, either buying their business in totality, including their trademarks and their phone numbers, and getting their employees and taking on liability of their employee benefits. But I have 2 others decided that they didn't want to do all that. They just want the assets of the business, right? Because there are a lot of different businesses that, they have a lease agreement, but, whether or not the landowner of the building will now want to negotiate with a new owner, that really depends, right? Or sometimes my clients don't want to be the successor, because when you take on ownership of somebody, it's almost like when you marry them, right? If they were not good and if they weren't good business people, then that may impact your relationship with other people. Or if they were in bankruptcy and now you're starting to file your 1040s with them, it could be a problem if the government decides that, you can make more money, I'm getting this money back from 10 years ago. And I'm like, well, I wasn't married to this person 10 years ago. You can always do like an innocent spouse, but you definitely need to talk to someone who is a tax attorney or someone who is an enrolled agent to help you out when you're having problems. business, okay? So I need you to understand when we're having these conversations, because this is, after all, the More Legal Show. And to me, the more legal you are, the less stressed you're going to feel. The more legal you are, acknowledging that there is law, and laws in everything. I was having a conversation with a business coach, and she was like, wow, this is what I think lawyers are. And I was just like, well, I don't care what you think lawyers are. You're talking to a lawyer. And the worst thing you ever do is try to argue with a lawyer, because you will lose. And not only that, but a lawyer dictates what the lawyer is going to do. As a business lawyer, of course, who happens to be a serial business owner, I don't just talk to people about terms of agreement, or talk to them about having a privacy notice on their website. You can Google that with regards to, tell them, what do I need? Service agreement. What else do I need? Independent contractor agreement. Tell them, what else do I need? You also need a privacy notice agreement that you're putting on there, a privacy notice policy, especially if you are an online business owner, because you're collecting people's information. So they need to know what you're going to do with their information. Tone, what else do I need? Well, if we already talked earlier about, if you are starting your business, a limited liability company, then you at least need an operating agreement pursuant to the law of your state. Tone, what else do I need? Well, we already talked about, if you're doing business with your homie, lover, friend, you definitely need to take out time to have a partnership agreement in place, because without that partnership agreement, it can be a problem when things go to the left, or you might need a business divorce. Tone, what else do I need? I told this one person, I'm not going through everything that you need, but there is a class. I do have that at the Legally Chic Boutique with regards to it. Like I told them, if that's something that you need, let us know, and I will go to there, and you can go to the business class. I was like, oh, you think that a lawyer is going to take the time out, and you're not even a client? I told this one woman recently, this is a 15-minute consult. It's always good to know what your question is. Hey, this is what I'm doing. That's why I go through the intake. I have people give me their intake. They don't have time for intake, and they don't have time to be a client, right? So they go through the intake, tell me what it is. I follow up with them, and then we can have a good conversation, because sometimes I can't really help people, right? And then for 15 minutes, there's not a ton of thing I can do with regards to it, because one, know this, that most of the time people get upset, but by law, if we give people advice, they become our clients, and my clients pay me, so when you're not paying me, and I still got to pay insurance, and you can turn around and sue me for ineffectual consult that you didn't get, it's going to be a problem on my part. So as I tell my clients to set boundaries, I don't tell you to do what I don't do, right? So I definitely want you to set boundaries, as everyone needs to set boundaries on their business. Because why, Tony? Why? Because this is your business asset, and your wealth building portfolio. Your business is the richest asset, especially if you come from nothing and you're manifesting something from nothing. This is your moneymaker. This is the thing that is going to help you get out of a bad situation from broke to bankable, and that other people are going to want to invest in your business as maybe a joint venture partner, or they want to invest in your business as an equity partner, or maybe they want to invest in your business because maybe you have a trademark that everybody wants a piece of, or maybe they want to invest in your business because you have a patent license, and the only time that they can utilize a mechanic, a product, a piece of a program or something that you created that is not natural, that they need a license agreement from you. So there's a level of investment. That's where you're bankable, because you build it one time and you monetize it for a lifetime. And with that succession planning in place, you understand that it's not just something that is run of the mill, that, I just created it so I can get some coins, or I can pay my bills, or I can do this. No, you created it because now, your succession planning is putting that success in your succession planning, having a financial plan in place. I like a younger group, because remember, I'm almost 50, but I did like a younger group of people, because they came up with FIRE, right? They say, financially independent, retire early. Man, nobody was telling me about FIRE back in 1990 when I graduated from University of Penn. You know what I mean? They was just like, get a job, go to school, get good grades. Okay, go to school, get good grades, get a job, find a man, or, but they wasn't talking about having a financially independence, retire early. having a financial plan in place where I'm not going to be broke, busted, and disgusted for the rest of my days, or living just over broke. So I love all of my clients who are about 30 to 35, where they doing the darn thing, right? They have their home care business, they doing the darn thing. They have clients already, they have employees already, they got their retirement plan already. I'm one of several of their advisors because they have a financial plan in place. I didn't have one. I had to get my ishness together at 40. And, I was like, darn, that's like 20 years long gone that, I have to put things in place. But when you put success in your succession planning, and when you know that your business is the wealthiest asset in your wealth building portfolio, you're going to take care of it. You're going to bankroll it. You're going to protect it. You're going to get your advisories in place. You're going to, make sure that, you're not only just going to have like business income, but you can also have passive income, right? You can also have a rental income. You can have different areas. And then maybe you even leverage it because maybe you might say, but I really have something good going on. I really want to help out people. I saw in the former session where somebody is doing a darn good thing with regards to helping out people, and you're getting donations. Well, that donor's income, it helps, because one, it's not taxed by the federal government, and if you are tax exempt, then oftentimes you get a lot of bonuses, you get a lot of postal reductions, you get a lot of stuff in place because you're doing a darn thing. You can even collaborate with governmental entities, right? And some people can even get like government, like a government contract in place, right? So I need you to understand that this business, that business is an asset. When my grandparents was older, they was just told about life insurance, and when they're dealing with the difference between the wealthy and the difference between the urban, is they tell us our wealth building is what? Get a job, get a retirement, but we already know that having a defined benefit based on a certain years. One of my clients was like, well, I figured after 10 years that, I was going to get a retirement. They found out the hard way. Okay, it's not about that. Now you have to be the CEO of your life, your experience, your success, right? And you got to be like, okay, this is my financial plan. I want to be financially independent. I really want to retire early. This is my debt freedom number, but this is my financial independent number. This is what I need to have so I can still live the life that I want. Not be broke, busting, disgusting, eating cat food, or having to pray seven days a week, laying prostrate, but then be broke, by the time you pass away, or trying to figure out at 75 how y'all can get Medicaid, but grandmama and them or daddy and them got this big old house with all this equity. That's a whole different conversation for next month that we can talk about. But I really want you to understand that when you recognize the legal, for over 15 years, I was teaching once at Temple University and then at Eastern University. And I was telling my clients, I'm not expecting you to be a lawyer, okay? You don't have to be a lawyer to recognize the rules. You don't have to be a lawyer to protect your assets. But I am expecting you to know what you need to know so that when you in Rome, you do as the Romans do. When you in business, you do what's expected of you. Even if you don't know and you getting that business credit, some of that money should be peeled off so that you can hire some experts, right? If you're listening to the station of Tony Moore, the boss legal CEO of the Moore Legal Firm, you can always go to asktonymore.com, and we can set up a conversation as to how I can help you do business like a boss, in your business so that you can up-level your business asset that is the richest asset in your wealth building portfolio. I really need you to understand that. I really need you to understand that. I really need you to understand that you don't have to be basic in business, right? Because here's the thing. This is your business. It's your life. It's your legacy. You get a chance to dictate what's going to be next for it. You're going to dictate how you're going to up-level it, because it's all about you and it's all about what you do. So this is Tony Moore of the Moore Legal Show. Thank you for joining in on WURD Radio. We will see each other next month, where I'm always reading and ripping pieces of the headline news so that you can understand the strategies, so that you can piecemeal it until you can understand and appreciate that, guess what? At the end of the day, the more legal you are, the less stressful you will feel, okay? So this is Tony once again. Let me see. Next time I'll be like, hey, if you got any questions, feel free on WURD Radio, definitely have some questions. And then I can answer some questions along the way, of course, not as your lawyer, because as I said before, I'm a lawyer. but I'm not your lawyer without, some retainer agreement, and ideally that retainer agreement would entail something with regards to business issues or trademark issues or succession planning issues, even estate and trust planning issues for business owners, because we don't want to always be building our way to wealth. And then when it's all said and done, end up in a bad situation where we're losing it, because we didn't have a succession plan, or we didn't decide to create a business that we could sell, and that would be our retirement plan, but at the end of the day, we don't want to get to the point where we do so much work and it's all for naught. We do so much work and maybe someone gets sick and we can't do business as usual. And don't argue with me, but that includes churches too, okay? Because there's a lot of Black and brown churches where once the pastor passes away, people, they don't know what's going on. And that's a different conversation with regards to you have leaders or cheerleaders, but it is a conversation with regards to churches that have a succession planning too, okay? Even a retirement plan, because most of the time there's a bishop, preacher, pastor who's there, who's probably like, it's probably time for them to let the younger generation, let the Joshua's, step up when Moses gets a little older, right? And ideally it's when Moses is still there, and not where oftentimes, where one pastor dies and a completely different person or a family member shows up and they're like, I'm taking over. I don't think that's godly. And I don't think it's, something that you want to do, because of the fact that we already know, we don't know the day or the hour, but we know that at the end of the day, we're not always going to be where we want to be. So this is Tony Moore. Hopefully this was good information. Hopefully I'll see you next month, first Sunday at 1:00, so we can have more information and conversation with the More Legal Show. It's also a part of my podcast, the More Legal Show. So definitely feel free every Sunday. I'm definitely trying to drop some gems so that, I want to normalize ways that we legalize our business so it's not scary. All right. So we will talk real soon. Bye for now.